Ladies and gentlemen, we are live. It is Self-Care Saturday. I need for you to do what you do every Saturday, and that is find somebody, like, tag, and share this video. I'm gonna give you a few minutes so you can come in. I'm airing tonight with two special brothers, and can't wait to have this dialogue with you. You don't own the rights to this music, so again, like, tag, and share. Uh, Joseph and CJ, if you got anybody you want to tag and share on this video, please do so right now. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Self-Care Saturday, everybody. I need for you to come on in the room. We have a discussion that we need to have tonight. That's right. We have somebody on here. I can't see who's on per se, but I do know we have somebody in the room. I got a Kirk Franklin rocking in the background, so y'all work with me. Again, it is Self-Care Saturday. We're excited about being on. And I have two special guests tonight who are going to dialogue with me in a conversation about the power of commitment. And ladies and gentlemen, if you are concerned or interested in that type of conversation on tonight, I need for you, wherever you are, to grab a hold of some young person, and whether male or female, we know that this is the month that we're dealing with the men, but I want to bring you to a dialogue that I think is very important and that needs to be had amongst millennials or what we know as young people. So, Joseph, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. I have Mr. Joseph Carney on. I have Mr. CJ. How do you pronounce your last name? Robertson or Robertson? Robertson, we can't hear you. You're muted.
Robertson.
Okay, awesome. So we can hear you. So we got about 6 people on watching here. And tonight, brother, first of all, let me thank you for coming on. It's been a month long. I've been dealing with pretty much a conversation or a topic dealing with, actually, it was unscripted, which means we could pretty much throw any questions and then have you guys to navigate through those questions. Dav is not here with us tonight. He's on a nice little road trip. He might jump in with us, but I'm not sure. But if he is watching, Dav, I sent you the information on Messenger, so check that out if you can. But also, I have here tonight 2 of my nephews. So we're excited about having this conversation. And so let's get started, gentlemen. Again, thank you. Any special shout outs you guys want to give before we get started? Stefan, any special shout outs? First of all, shout out to Lady Carla. And in 2 weeks, she will be back with me on the set. We'll be back to give you nothing but self-care. And we're going to navigate through some things headed toward the end of the year that we are thankful and grateful to God about. Let me state this for the record. God is a healer. And every time that we come on, you know that we're going to promote that. We're going to highlight it. We're going to say it. We're going to share it. We want everyone around the world to know that God is a healer. And I have 2 young men here that are not only believers in Christ, but they're not afraid to express their faith. So as I said, we're going to give them an opportunity to give a shout out to anybody that they need to before we dive right in. We're talking about the power of commitment tonight. You need to log on. You need to like, tag, and share as we dive in. Joseph, any shout outs for you, brother, before we move in?
Shout out to God, of course, for giving me the opportunity to be on the panel.
Man, speak up. Come on now. Speak up, brother. We want to hear you.
I said, first off, shout out to God for giving me an opportunity to be on the panel and, give my opinions and, be able to help you all with Self-Care Saturday. Special shout out to my wife and my friends for always, keeping me grounded and always keeping me being able to have open discussions. So that's about it.
Okay. CJ, any special shout outs to anyone today, brother?
Yeah, like Joe said, I give a shout out to God and I give a shout out to y'all for giving me a chance to speak. And I give a shout out to my friends and family as well.
All right. So look, tell all your friends and family it is Self-Care Saturday, my friend. So we're grateful for having both of you on. Thank you for consenting. And again, I don't want to prolong this. We've had the people waiting almost 20 minutes. we were in the background trying to get all this studio stuff working. So thank you for bearing with us. So needless to say, I'm diving right in. I want to hear from you all because so often we hear about young people, whether they be millennials or the young adult, and how they are not necessarily doing certain things the way we used to do them. I mean, you got old school, you got new school, and the new school mindset is quite different from what we understand. The way you guys operate, the way you think, the way you navigate, the way you carry out things, you just have a different perspective. And some of the old values and systems, I don't necessarily believe you have to move them, but I want to hear from you all. And again, the topic tonight is dealing with commitment. So, CJ, I'm going to throw the first question at you, brother, and we'll have Stefan to piggyback off of it.
Yeah.
So, the first question I want to ask is, what is commitment to you, and how is being committed relevant to your faith?
I say commitment is like giving your all into something, like being able to like go through anything and staying focused on what you want to accomplish, like being committed to that one thing or goal at mind. And I'll say how it correlates to religion and faith is because like I'll say going through faith, you're gonna go through a lot of trials and tribulations. Going through life, you're gonna go through a lot of trials and tribulations. And you gotta be able to like know that it's not coming from a bad place. God tell you you're gonna go through that. So you gotta know that just because you're going through that, it don't mean there's no God. Just because you don't see him, it don't mean that there's no God. You gotta remain with the faith and just believe that he's gonna take you through it. And believe that, you know, he brought you to it for you to come out a better person. So I feel like if you know commit to that faith in him and in religion, like you can go through trials and tribulations all through life and it'll get you to where he needs you to be in life. That's how I see it.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So, Joseph, what about yourself, brother? When you think about the term commitment, what is commitment to you? How do you define it? And yet, how does being committed, how is that relevant to your faith?
To me, commitment means being all in to whatever you're dealing with at the time, whether that's a job, whether that's a relationship, whether that's a goal you're trying to hit. I remember about it's funny because about 2 or 3 months ago, my head football coach, we were having a meeting like we normally do, and he was telling us this little story about the chicken and the pig, talking about being committed. And he was saying, when you're going to eat your breakfast, you got two types of people. You got the people who are 100% committed, and you got the people who kind of just lukewarm. So if you're the chicken, you're going to contribute. You're not going to give your all. You're going to contribute because you're going to lay the eggs for the breakfast. But if you're the pig going to be 100% committed. The pig say, well, you know what? I'm all in. Kill me. Y'all can just eat me. I'm going to give you what you need for the breakfast. So when I think about commitment, I definitely think about being all in and giving 100% of myself to whatever I'm diving into. And as far as dealing with faith, the more I go through days and the more I go through life, I kind of start to understand what being committed to God means and how it can, change your life for the better. It's definitely being committed is definitely not something you can just wake up and decide, okay, I think I'm gonna be committed to this today, if your mind is not developing and changing throughout. So I believe commitment definitely takes some focus, definitely takes some determination, but overall it's just being all in with whatever you have set on your plate.
All right, awesome. And I think these are great answers because many times when we come to young people or young adults, you see, I did put my football look on for you guys. I got my hat and my little blazer here, so I feel like I'm in football season with you all. So. But I think those are powerful answers because when we consider the term commitment, so often it's hard to misjudge the commitment of young people, and especially our young men. It's so hard to believe that young men don't have faith. It's so hard to believe that they don't have a cause that they're working towards or against. And I feel sometimes that you guys are counted out just because you don't express commitment or faith in the way that many of us do as your older peers. And so I want to talk about that a little bit. And another conversation, and I don't know how long this conversation may take, because Joseph, you just got married. So CJ, I don't know where you're at in the relationship world, but man, I hear a lot of conversation from young women that talk about the fear of commitment amongst young men, the young millennials. And we need to have that conversation. But let me just tag this for the moment. So commitment to me is staying consistent to something, being loyal to something. Commitment to me is, as you mentioned, Joseph, giving your all. Same for you, CJ. It is, look, being all in and look, commitment also, I believe, has a lot to do with understanding good and bad is a part of that journey. Sometimes people like to throw down the commitment when the bad hits. And obviously, some of us have to mature in those areas. And so as we are maturing, some people may not understand the mature level of being committed until they get older. It's so funny because I see sometimes when I see older people trying to live like younger people, or younger people trying to live older, many lessons may need to be taught to that particular individual. And so we got to understand commitment may not be at the same level that you might see it, because you might see commitment as, look, I give 150%. Somebody else may see it like, I just show up. So I think the example of the pig and the chicken is another good example. So commitment with faith. The second part of the question I asked, I don't believe you can really have faith or express faith without commitment. And so when you think about it, faith, the Bible says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. And so therefore, in order to manifest faith in its true sense, you need to have a commitment that is full of evidence. And CJ, I know Stefan often tell you, a part of my commitment is making sure we have evidence in anything that we do. So ladies and gentlemen, audience, all of you watching, commitment is about being loyal. Commitment is being faithful, dedicated to whatever your task is. And we got to make sure that we encourage our young men. And as I continue to say, I don't just like to say black men, but particularly our black men, but we want to make sure that we encourage our young men and help them understand commitment, and don't be afraid to give them space to express what they understand as commitment. And so second question, let's dive in. So again, we're expressing that regarding faith, and there's so many things I can ask the both of you in regards to faith. So it's already a miracle to have the both of you expressing faith in God, because understand, the average man is not as open about his faith or his commitment. Now, you all have been seeing these broadcasts since January, and I really want you guys to give me some insight here, because when you hear the term self-care, now obviously, now we're in a new generation now, so let me point some things out. There are men that do manicures now. There are men that do pedicures now. There are men that go to the spa now. I mean, we got these brothers now that, and in some cases, they do more self-caring than their women. What do you brothers think about when you hear the term self-care? What is self-care to you? Is it the nail shop? Is it the massage shop? Now, when I say nail, again, now, like I said, I'm not being biased, but I'm just trying to open up a conversation here. What is self-care to you? Because many people describe self-care as downtime. Some people only tag self-care as health. Some people tag self-care as having a mind just to relax. What is self-care to you, Joseph?
Self-care can mean, well, for me, self-care means a little bit of everything you were just talking about, right? So,
okay.
Yeah, so when I think of the term self-care, I often think of health. I often think of health. I often think of a peace of mind. I often think of myself if I'm going out. It's funny, 'cause like I talk to my young men. I'm a teacher, so I talk to my young men in my classroom and my players all the time. And they always say, Coach, why your haircut? Why you always get a haircut? I say, son, listen, my haircut got to be every 2 weeks. All right. I got to be on schedule. You know what I'm saying? I am one of the men who go to the nail salon with my wife. I do. Just to throw that out there.
Okay.
Just to throw that out there. So yeah,
Oh
when I think
man,
of self-care,
setting up something over here.
I definitely do believe it kind of deals with all of those things. You want to make sure you're
Okay.
taking care of yourself. You want to make sure, you're staying on top of yourself, especially if you're trying to, I guess, advance and not stay stagnant in life. You know what I'm saying? So
Okay.
being able to know your health is good, being able to know your finances are good, you have a peace of mind, you're able to, talk to other people, you're good spiritually, it's definitely important. So when I think of self-care, like I said, it's kind of a mixture of all those things to make sure I'm balanced in every level.
Very precise answer, young man. I like that. So we got to keep a balance in self-care, gentlemen. And we're hearing it from a young person's perspective, because again, I continue to say so often, we can count the voices out of our young men, and there are so many young men, not just CJ and Joseph, who I respect and look up to as well. Because I look for them to hold a standard. I look for them to continue to keep the bar high. I look for them to be that lead example in the things that they're doing. So CJ, when you hear the term self-care, what does self-care say to you? What does it mean to you, brother?
Pretty much what Joe said. I think it got something to do with pretty much all of health. You got physical, emotional. I think everybody after a long week of work needs some relaxation sometimes. Just to wind down. Right? Mentally, you can get drained, and a lot of people go through depression because of, and they don't know that, just taking that time to themselves and being able to like reset will actually make everything a lot better. And I go to the spa. I go to the spa, get my
Okay.
wind down. I I've been to the nail salon once, but I ain't never been back. I just recently thought about it. I recently thought about it, but, but yeah, I might be going soon. Man. I might be going soon. But now I'm pretty much self care is like all of those things. A lot of people look at it as one thing, and it's all.
All right, awesome. Thank you for responding to that. And again, for me, I definitely highlight self-care as a part of my spiritual journey before my physical journey, because so often when we started doing these videos, as I continue to mention, a large part of it, was because we had been delivered from COVID, and COVID almost took my life. And so, like I said, I really had to rethink some things. And I actually have been dealing with about 8 to 9 months of recovery from having COVID. So I caught COVID when it first came out. And one of the things that I learned is that you can plan for long term, but long term or longevity is actually not promised. And I had somewhat of a great awakening in that sense, because when I had to go to the hospital after I couldn't breathe, the only thing I could start thinking of, a lot of things that I thought mattered. In that next moment, I realized there were only about 3 or 4 things that really came to mind. And of course, family was one, my health was second, and surviving was third. And the car, the house, the money, the clothing, all those things were not a part of my thinking process. And so when I think about self-care, there are many things that I had to put back in perspective, because so often we think the large part of what we see and what we do, it has so much importance. We have so much priority on things that sometimes that we really should just push aside and really start to outline what's really important regarding self-care. And I do believe a part of self-care is making sure you're not only healthy spiritually, but you're healthy physically. And so I had some challenges with that I had to hurdle over. And one of those challenges was dealing with diabetes. And so let's talk about that for a minute when you're dealing with commitment with men. And so how committed, in your view, are young people to their health? How committed are young people? Because again, now I'm getting whipped on every side because I got people. Of course, I got the doctor on my back. I got my wife on my back. I got some friends, some colleagues, and they're rooting for me because at this juncture of my life, I can't just eat chocolate all day. I can't wake up eating ice cream no more. I can't, and I used to do a lot of crazy things like that. I would skip breakfast, man, just to jump into eating all type of things that were very unhealthy for my body. But now I find myself in that fight to where I'm trying to keep diabetes off, trying to keep my A1C levels down, trying to make sure that I'm at the healthiest place to operate in ministry, to operate with my family, and to be around. And so it's health important. When you talk about young people, how committed are you all to your health? Y'all smiling, so that means y'all still eating junk food.
we trying to we actually like started like me, him, and our own friend Archie. We actually started a like accountability group where we text each other every week, Monday every week, and say, all right, we're going to the gym this amount of times this week. If we don't go, you gotta pay each person $30 or something like that. So we yeah, we started trying to get on the health train, especially for when Joe was getting married. We always try to lose a good bit of weight. So we trying now. We trying to get on the health train, but right now being young and all this temptation out here, going out to eat, and you wanna go, do everything else instead of eating healthy and going to the gym and everything else. It's hard, but you gotta stay focused.
Gotta stay committed.
Yeah, committed.
Now you see, I'm talking about commitment and health, and I just turned up a ginger ale. Now I already know somebody gonna be funny and say you shouldn't be having that sugar. Well, let me show you something. I'm diluting it with water.
Hey,
so I'm putting a balance to it. So do not text me telling me that I shouldn't have the ginger ale now. Work with me here. So I heard you say something just now, CJ, that I want to dive into commitment surrounding relationships. And again, it's 6:41. I don't know how to really go into this, but I guess I'll just lay it out the best way that I can. Many of the young women that I see and meet and hear conversations from now, sometimes I'm hearing from their parents, sometimes I'm hearing from them personally, but some of them want to know what's up with the men and their commitment, like especially the young men, like what are you brothers doing? Now I know we can't speak for everyone. Yeah. I just need some general conversation for us to put out there. Maybe somebody will hit us up in the chat box. Maybe they'll give us a perspective. But now we are not experts on the perspective, but we're just talking as brothers here. So Joseph, you're married. You are a young married man. How old are you?
26.
26. So you already married. What made you tie down to that type of a commitment at 26 years old, man? Special shout out to Baby J. Again, we thank God for her. So what made you tie down to that commitment or that type of a commitment?
Well, luckily for me, first off, she's been my wife now for, I think 4 or 5 months. But
you saying that with authority, man. She's been my wife now. like you old and married. Come on, man. You still a newlywed.
True. Luckily for me though, we've been together for a little over 9 years. So okay. I will say, being young, commitment can be difficult. Being young, commitment can be difficult.
Okay.
Because as much as, especially whether it's young men or young women, there's so many different things, so many different experiences that you don't know you'll have, especially as you start to grow into yourself. So for me, I'll tell you, getting married to Jamela was the best decision for me at the time. because Jamila was part of the reason God gave her the tools to help me be grounded, help me be, focused on other things. So committing to her was easier for me than it probably is for, like I said, most other young men, just because of the different things you're doing. Me and her have a good relationship. We're able to communicate with each other on a good level. So the commitment piece was, like I said, was easier simply because she helped make my life easier.
Okay.
So that was not, something that I was dreading, like nothing that she pressured me into or nothing that, anybody was like, about that time, do this, do that. No, that was never the case. So she definitely, committing to her was definitely, over thought processes of talking to God, especially talking to you as my mentor and my uncle, talking to my father. It was definitely something I thought about. And, and I will say to anybody who's thinking about getting married, or anybody who's in long-term relationships, I will tell you.
Listen up, young man. Listen up.
This is a true story. And I know she up here listening somewhere.
All right.
But I will say, I'll never forget my uncle told me, I think he said once before, you don't really know what you're committing to until later down the line. And I got engaged to my wife in, I think, 2019.
You better stop saying I think and I know. Jamila's gonna see this later,
Yeah, it was November 2019, the day after Thanksgiving. It took me another 6 months to understand what he was saying to me after he said, you don't know what you're committing to, right? Because you're not, it sounds cute having a husband or having a wife or whatever the case is, but the reality is you are committing your whole life is transformed because you're committing your entire life, your space, your peace of mind, your finances, everything about yourself. You're telling the other person, you're sharing this with them on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
And I can honestly tell you, a lot of people would not be ready for that type of step because it does come with other things. It does come with days you're going to be like, man, you know what? Whatever. I don't want to deal with this. It does come with the happy days where you're like, oh, that's the best decision I ever made. So
right.
Going in, knowing you're about to change the whole dynamic of what you enjoy doing, that is hard for some people to fathom and get across that hump. So I will say, like I said, for me, the commitment piece was easy, but for others, it will be a difficult process just because of the experiences and outside and external factors that play into it.
Okay. Well, CJ, you almost at an advantage here because me and Joseph are both married. I've been married 6 years. I've known my wife for about 20. Well, I've known my wife for 20 years. I can't say for about because I don't want to put speculation. I'm going to make sure I know what I'm talking about because she is not far and she is listening. So again, such a shout out to you, Carla. I love you. And I want to share something and be transparent with you guys. And CJ, we'll give you the floor to talk from the single perspective because I remember when I was dating Carla some years back, one of the things that she made clear to me that she had a standard. And so often with men, we young and old, I believe, if we're not given somewhat it's the word I'm looking for. If you're not given something to aim for, a goal, if you're not given something to reach for, I believe in many cases we'll just walk that thin line of safety, just feeling like I got time, or she's not really pressing the issue, so I'll just keep doing me. And I'll never forget one night we was out on a little park walk, and I decided, I'm holding hands, we walking in the park, and we're going and we're just walking. Now, in my view, and listen, I need for every man, young man, old man to listen up, because I want to show you how women is thinking one thing and men could be thinking another. And so to piggyback off your point, Stefan, I'm walking in the park. Now, I haven't settled in my mind that we are a committed couple. CJ, for me, it was just a walk in the park. We laughing, we talking, but don't get me wrong, she was the only person I'm seeing. And she just decided to kindly ask me, what is this? Where are we going? And I'm looking like, what do you mean? What is this? Automatically, I got so protective of my singleness. I got so protective of, I'm not ready to commit. I've been through a relationship, so I've had those type of factors that I've had to deal with. And it really put me in a place to where that night, she actually gave me an ultimatum, and not so much to make a decision, but she pretty much said to me, you need to make a decision about where we are and what we're doing, because I don't just walk in the park with my friends. So number one, she raised the standard that night. And I think many times, especially to the young women, if you're wondering why most men don't commit, it could be because you haven't raised the standard. Secondly, she told me don't return back for a park walk until I made my mind up on what we were and where we were going. Now, I don't know about you, but that's tough when and don't get me wrong, we're good friends and we're talking and everything. So it was a strong relationship and friendship that we had. But when you start talking about, as Stefan said, marriage, that's a whole nother realm. That's a whole nother ball game. And then the other thing I want to make sure I point out here before we hand it over to you, CJ, is that marriage also moves your mind, it moves your money, and it also moves everything dealing with your life in regards to your health, your life insurance policies, money that you may have in the bank. It moves you from advice that you may get from particular people. And so she drove me into a space of commitment where I had to make a decision regarding her. So she just would not allow me. It wasn't going to be no, we're going to date for 10 years and then you can decide. And so often I believe young women and some older, they struggle with this man can be with you 8, 9, 10 years and just never pin down the commitment. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I had to make a commitment. And I had to make a commitment, not so much, as I said, I was not forced into a decision. It was my personal decision because I knew she was the one for me. I knew she was the one God had for me. And sometimes what happens, Joseph, is that we can see a clear picture. I believe some people can understand, even at a young age, at the tender age of 26. I believe some people can understand that might be the person for them. But again, walking over that hurdle to commit to what you see, because so often, CJ, we ask God for things, we want things, and we'll say, that's exactly what I want. But as soon as it comes before us, all of a sudden we begin to step back out of fear. And so I want to be transparent and share that my wife now gave me a standard that I had to look for. She helped me to understand where she was, and she also helped me to understand what she was not going to accept. So she made it clear she was not looking to just date somebody. Her end goal was marriage. She made it clear that commitment for her meant that we're working towards, family. We're working towards togetherness. We're not working towards you just stopping by, you saying hello, you chilling out, and then you going to your house. I'm at my house. She wasn't having that. So CJ, let's throw this over to you, brother. I'm not here necessarily to dig into your personal business, but it looks like he just got dropped. So Joseph, I'm saying to piggyback off what you're saying, it's good to hear that from a young person, because so often, like I said, I believe young people are counted out as if young men don't want to commit. And I'm just grateful to hear that you had people around you. So a lot of what I'm hearing is that you did get a lot of guidance in the way to go, or to help confirm the decisions you were making.
Yeah, I definitely had some guidance. I definitely I had some long talks. I definitely had some people that were, whether they supported it or whether they um, gave their opinion. They were all honest with me.
Right.
But there was never a time anyone told me well, no, I don't think you should do that. Or, well, you might want to wait. They definitely nobody told me anything like that. So they were all definitely, like I said, gave their honest opinion uh, about how how they were and what they dealt with, and
Yeah.
basically told me, it's gonna be what y'all make it, and
Right.
it's gonna be ultimately y'all's marriage. So
Okay.
it was definitely the best decision for me at the time. Love you, Jamila.
Baby J, you see him giving you that shout out. So wherever you are, we're grateful for you. CJ, let's look at this from your perspective. Whether you're single or in a relationship, you're not married. So what type of pressures are on you in regards to commitment, man? Because I mean, you're young, you got a lot going for you. You're looking to, to launch off into real estate. So you got great things happening for you. So you're gonna be making money, So we're excited for you, man, and we encourage everything that's taking place in your life. God bless you. So when you look at commitment and relationships, some of these women want to know and understand, why are we so afraid? What's the problem, man?
I don't know.
I need more on the panel to answer
that. I mean, me more so. I don't know. I think more so of making a mistake, making a wrong choice.
Okay. Do you think women are too pushy?
No, not this day and age. They ain't like they'll stick with you the whole time, but
okay,
it's like, I don't want to make this decision on this girl, and then she ain't who I'm supposed to be with.
What?
Or yeah, like I don't know, like I mean, you know how down the line, you know how Joe said he knew, and like you said, you knew that was supposed to be your wife. Right. Some guys just don't know fully to commit.
I beg to differ in some sense, and let me tell you why. Because sometimes I believe we're looking for the perfect woman, and she doesn't exist. How do I know that? I believe we are afraid to commit because we are looking for the perfect woman. And most of the times, the woman God gives you, the lady that's before you, is probably as close you're going to get. And I had some people who had to school me on that, man, because sometimes, like I said, we're looking for the woman who's going to say yes to everything. We're looking for the woman who's going to help build us up, who's going to have our back, who's going to be loyal. But watch this now. That's everything coming from her. What are we going to give? And so I'm trying to find out from young brothers, because I need to help these sisters out. We need to help these brothers out as well, because so many brothers, they don't necessarily go into a relationship looking for an end goal. And believe it or not, I believe a healthy relationship is a part of self-care. Because if you don't have a relationship that can help, as Joseph said, balance you, man, I think you're in trouble, man. And so often, this is why when I see young men gathered together, for example, why do young men spend so much time with their boys? They happy with their boys, they dap it up with their boys, they good with their boys. But why do they get so aggravated when it's time to spend time with their girl or their woman, or help me out here, brother. Look, it's your job. Hey.
Hey, I'm single. I don't spend that much time with my boy. I don't know why they do that.
Now, believe it or not, prayerfully, and when Carla gets back on with me, these are some of the questions we're going to attack as well. But I wanted to bring it to you all first because, like I said, I get bombarded, man, with people, saying, hey, do a session with the young millennials because I want to know what they're thinking. I hear questions all the time about commitment. And so, like I said, give us something to work with, man.
I can speak on. I thought about it. I thought about it recently.
Okay.
Well, what I want. Oh no, man.
Ladies on the market. CJ is thinking.
It's more so like what I really wanted out of a woman. So basically, I got a lot of aspirations and a lot of dreams I'm trying to get accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to find one that has dreams and really working towards it and gonna keep me focused and grounded like Joe say, and keep my head down and focusing on my dream as well. And like we both build together, like start a partnership and a life partnership.
Okay.
And I mean, it ain't really this day and age. You don't really find that too much. I'll say most women just they ain't. I don't know. I
So
can't
do,
even
do
explain.
you believe you and Joseph both, maybe both of you can help me with this. Do you believe in some case or some sense? Now I got to be very sensitive with these questions because women they hear one thing
Yeah,
and they be ready to jump on you like barbecue sauce on ribs, boy.
yeah.
Do you think some young girls, young adults, do you think they have dropped the bar? Because like I said, I was not given a lot of space and time. I mean, Carla literally gave me, she practically told me, you got 1 year to decide if we're moving forward. Now, that was
Oh,
her hard statement to me. But on the other hand, here's the other unique thing. I wanted to be with her, but there were fears there. And those fears, as Joseph said, was letting go again, dropping my wall, my guards. And many young men just don't know how to do that. And I got another question I want to pose too, because this is a question we really need to talk about. But before I go there, anything else on commitment and relationships, Joseph, or because again, do you think women have dropped the bar and they just allow men to do what they want to?
yes, 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 yes.
I'm gonna say yeah and no.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah and no. So you guys do know probably next month some of these women gonna come in. Now I need to be on this panel so I
yeah.
can tell
I
y'all.
already
We,
know.
we want to know now. Again,
Is it?
I'm just sharing from two other brothers' perspective. Well, me and Stefan is married. CJ he's single, and again, we're looking for perspective amongst young people. And I would love to, like I said, extend this panel to any of your friends who want to come on and share ideas of why, and give us some things to really look into. Because one of the things I realized you can't really know the mind of a person until you sit down and have a conversation with the person.
Mm-hmm.
And so often, even in relationships, we like to make people guess at what we're thinking. No, express what you're thinking, and I can deal with it better. And so we sit reserved, knowing we have things on our mind, things we want to say, things that we're reaching for or reaching higher to, but we want the other person to just guess at it, and that's just not the world we live in. We got to communicate. So are
Yeah.
women really communicating what they want? For CJ saying no. Look, I'm looking straight. I'm not taking my head yet. When these questions come, CJ, you will be back on for a round two. Stefan,
No,
have women dropped the standard? CJ is very tickled here. Has women dropped the standard in some sense for men?
I'm gonna say yeah and I'm gonna say no. Why do I say yeah? Yes, because it is right now. It's so much easier to get with women in general. You know what I'm saying? Like
Oh boy. I'm listening.
it's you got some women on one hand that'll kind of make you work to be, with them or to get with them, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, or whatever the case is. And then on the other hand, you got some women who it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So as far as them dropping the standard, some women, like I said, don't necessarily put forth a standard in the beginning. So like you said, they don't have anything to work. A man don't have anything to work towards. Now, for the men, for us as young men, two things will happen. Once they do set their standard, they're either going to up and leave because they can't hold up that end of the deal, or they don't want to deal with that, or B, they'll put forth that type of effort. And it's hard to, and I won't, and again, I kind of I won't say I'm at a neutral spot because I do kind of agree with some women. For some men, it is hard to commit. It is hard to commit, especially at a younger age, because again, they're going through whatever experiences they're going through. But as men, being young, we don't necessarily think about the woman, or we don't have the conversation with the woman to understand their perspective, because they think about a lot more things being younger than we do. So it can be difficult for them to find, meaningful, committed relationships while they're younger. I can understand how that'll be difficult. And like I said, especially from our view, because again, my wife always tells me, you never look at stuff from multiple perspectives. Well, I ain't never been a woman before, so I mean, I don't know. I don't know the other way to look at
it. Right. And understand, I think men need men to help govern some of the choices that they're going to make, to help them understand the power of commitment, because technically speaking, most men won't commit unless they're challenged to commit. And without that challenge, what it does, it just continues to buy time. Because think about it. Most men, when they get a vehicle, they are committed to the upkeep of that vehicle, and yet they don't necessarily express that same commitment sometimes to the relationship. And so what I tell women is, if you want to see a man's commitment, sit on your porch and watch him wash his car. Look at him vacuum that car. Look at how he takes his time with it. And you'll see a man who's committed to something that he likes or loves, or something that is meaningful to him. So many times you have to look at something that a man has invested money in, sometimes to draw the revelation of where his heart is or how he could be. And that's just one example. And so another thing I want to throw out there, because time is running on us now, and it's getting dark on your end. So CJ, we need some light where you're at, brother. So the other thing is that there are a lot of young men that just don't know how to express themselves. And a lot of young men are frustrated. They're pent up with anger. I heard CJ mention about mental health. Are we seeing a great rise amongst young men with challenges of depression? How do we help men, or what type of conversations do we need to have around helping them to commit to not being ashamed to share with somebody that they're struggling in their mental health or their anger, or they have anxiety issues? What do we do with that? Because I'm working right now on bringing somebody on, a mental health specialist or counselor, so we can talk about some of those things. But I know you guys are not licensed counselors, but any perspective on that? Because I've never seen so many young men now claiming whether it be mental health challenges or depression or having anxiety that's causing them to do things that are so out the norm, man. So what's your take on that? How do we get them to, like I said, be committed to even expressing to somebody that they're going through those type of things?
That's definitely a difficult. That's definitely one of those difficult humps to cross as well.
Okay.
Because it all depends, it all boils down to what they were taught, or, how they were brought up. So, I mean, for me, I was fortunate to grow up around men. I was fortunate to grow up around different people or run into different people. And I heard this saying before, God puts certain people in your path for different reasons. So a lot of young men will have the mentors or the male figures or the female figures that they need, but it's difficult when you're not, you're not able to consistently reach them. So I know for me, I wasn't necessarily, brought up to be like feelings being expressed. That's something I wasn't, brought up with. But as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize, talking is definitely helpful. It's definitely beneficial, especially the self-care, like we were saying. in the beginning. So I think as men grow older, they need to help the young men and let them know communication is how you grow and how you start to evolve.
Okay. CJ, anything on that, brother?
Yes, sir. Pretty much what Joe said. Like growing up, I mean, as a man or as a young boy, you taught, hey, men don't cry. So you kind of force yourself not to feel pretty much. So once you get to years and years of not feeling, not trying to show emotion, or you get the feeling of you being looked at as soft because you're showing emotion.
Okay.
Then you suppress like all those emotions. So once you get grown, I mean, trying to release them is just like it goes wrong because you don't know how to express yourself at that point. But me personally, I know what I should do in a sense. Like I know talking, you should just talk it out or whatever. Speak what you feel. But pretty much most time I just I kind of just let it go. Cause I mean I'm a laid back type of person. I don't like to argue. I ain't really into all that. So if it's something you bring me to, like, and I actually feel some type of way about it, I am gonna speak on it. But at the same time, I'm a person that really just I've been brought up not to show emotion. I grew up with a lot of men, and they you don't cry, you don't do all that.
All right,
and that's how we.
And that's a cycle we got to work on, man. That's a cycle we have to really dive into a little more. Because, like I said, I think having these initial conversations, we're hearing that men have been told or brought up not to express their feelings, and then, like I said, I do believe much of that can affect your commitment, because when a man can't openly express how he feels, he has to turn to something. And he's going to express what he's feeling to something, with something, or by something. And for many men, guess what they turn to? They turn to drinking. For some men, they turn to violence. And that's definitely a topic we got to talk about. Domestic violence of young men in relationships, or men just having that anger and they don't know how to express it. They don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to keep it in its proper place. Because I do believe you can express a healthy dose of you not liking something. I think there's a form and a place to express that. So we want to keep that in mind. So one of the last things I want to throw at you guys, last question, because it's 7:12 now, and I truly thank you guys, and all for those who have stayed on so far to watch. Again, tag and share this video, because I got two young brothers on there sharing from a young millennial perspective. We're dealing with the power of commitment, and we're just going through a couple of questions, but I'm going to start with you, CJ, and then we'll have Joseph to finish up the segment with us. But share a time when you had to stay committed to something, even when you did not want to.
Probably my first year in college.
Okay.
I broke my foot probably 2 weeks before it was time to go. So I had to go, and I think I went almost the whole season without being able to. We didn't play our first season, but you had to pass the conditioning test in order to be on the team. So I had to go through all these therapies and stuff to get back healthy in order to even attempt to do the conditioning test. I did it. I failed. I failed the conditioning test probably about 6 times. I could not pass it to save my life. I don't know what it was, and I had to win. I ran it every day. I consistently worked on it every day, all day. I had friends to take me to the field. We did it every day consistently. But every time the clock came and the coaches came to do it, I flunked every time.
Wow.
So I had to end up going. I went to train with my uncle the summer. That next summer, came back and I passed, but I was committed in passing. And like the training I had to go through in Texas, to do the pass, man. I was committed. I worked on my off days. I did everything I had to do, and I made sure it happened. And when I got back, I completed it. Well, fine. So
All right, awesome. Awesome. Joseph, we leave the floor to you, brother. Share a time when you've had to work through a situation and stay committed to it, even when you didn't feel like it.
2016 through 18. Being in college, I stopped. When I left high school, the only thing I wanted to do was play football. And I stopped playing football and ended up in school. Now, let me just tell y'all, when you're doing something you don't want to do, it's hard.
Yeah, man.
Keep doing it. It's hard. And I probably hate school more than most people. I can tell y'all that. But, during that time, I did not want to continue to go to school. I did not want to finish. I was not focused. I was not putting 100% into it. I was failing classes, and a bunch of other stuff was going on. And it was one day, my wife now, she straight up told me, she said, well, look, you ain't got but two options. Either you can finish and we can be together, or you can quit and be a bum. But if you do, we ain't got nothing else to talk about.
Wow.
So that's how that went.
Hey, that's that standard, right? Right.
Hey, that's how that went, and I'm 2 degrees up now. So, that was definitely my time.
Wow. And for me, as we're closing, thank you guys both for sharing and both for your digging deep and commitment is with school. But for me, it just has been health, man. I can share several things, but I definitely want to share that because it's a reminder of, as you guys are both being transparent and sharing, trying to stay healthy has been a hard and a fight and a commitment for me. I go through cycles of, man, I can lose sometime 30, 40 pounds over a 3-4 month period. But guess what? That's with me sticking to it. And CJ, I don't know if Joseph told you, but him and my brother both, they called me out of retirement, a few years ago for basketball. And from there, it just really put me in a good place because they encouraged me to get out, to run, to exercise, to walk. And so when they began to start sending videos that they were out every day, I was like, oh man, so now I got to put my videos out here, So it was hard for me because it's easy to tell people you're doing something if they're not following up. You can always say, oh yeah, I'm doing it. But then they begin to call for accountability. And I was like, man, these brothers, and they 2-3 miles a day, man. And they were knocking these down in like 30. Well, my brother sometimes was hitting 30 minutes doing 3 miles. 30 to 40 minutes, man. And again, we're not youngins. So my thing was, I began to make a consistent effort to go walking every day. And Stephon will tell you, man, by the time I got finished committing to the commitment, they were sick of hearing from me. Man, I was sending pictures early in the morning. I was sending pictures late at night because I found in that commitment, I had accountability. And then I also had an inner effort that God had given me to get myself back on track. And so that's been a part of why I believe that I'm still alive today, because I stayed committed to health. And health is not just eating good, because some people think if you're small, if you have this certain figure, that you're healthy. I threw that thought process out the window long ago, because I know many people who have weight on them, and that doesn't necessarily mean that they're unhealthy people. So we really got to reshape our thinking when we're talking about health and self-care in that sense. So I stay committed to the cause. And like I said, there were several times I didn't want to go out to do anything about it. There were several times, as Stephon said, I went through the cycle of some weeks I did good. Some weeks I'm just like, well, I'm going to eat as bad as I can, and I'll feel bad about it, and I'll try again the next day, So I went through those cycles, but more importantly, I saw phases where my health really began to show me, look, if you continue doing this, this can affect you long term. But man, when I heard that people could go blind from diabetes, I was like, oh God, I got to do something different here. And so that's a part of my long-term commitment even now. So I've had to dig deep in the health department for the past 2 years because I've never experienced health challenges like this before. And some may say, well, you're aging now. Well, I'm never going to get old. So I'm just grateful for where I'm at. I have a young mind. So my mind is that there is nothing impossible if we keep believing. So I believe in the power of commitment. And this has brought us to I think about a 45-minute discussion. So I truly thank the both of you for your time. You guys do know we haven't even tipped the iceberg on questions yet. I'm so grateful that you both have expressed your faith. And as I said, I continue to say a part of expanding or doing anything that we're doing, we got to keep God in the forefront. We got to have God in the picture. And you two have expressed that. So my heart is encouraged. So anyone who's watching this video, as I continue to say every week, we've been encouraging your hearts. And from Philippians 1:6, it declares, he who began a good work in you, not only will he perform it, but he will bring it to pass until the day of Jesus Christ. So ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, you've heard it from CJ and Joseph yourself. Now, if you all start throwing questions about some of the things that we have shared, always know this is just a one-time conversation. We will be expanding this conversation. So they'll be back with us to share more. So young men, wherever you are, stay committed. Don't be afraid to commit. And remember, there's power in commitment because commitment will lead you to greater results. You just got to stick with it. So brothers, thank you all for coming on. I'm so grateful for you. And I hope to chat with you soon.
Thank you for having me.
All right. God bless.
All right.